Hello, I am Susan Nielsen, the Student Outreach Coordinator, and we have developed a series of 3 videos to discuss the topic of organization. For the first one, we will be talking about the topic of organizing our time or our daily tasks. For the second one, we will talk about organizing our space, and the third, we will talk about organizing our mind or our thoughts. Over the spring, my neighbors introduced me to a new hobby, mountain biking. After a summer of mountain biking with my friends, we planned a trip to Moab filled with stunning vistas. On the last day of our trip, we decided to visit Arches National Park. I was awestruck with the structure of double arches, which is the opening scene for Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade. Questions filled my mind about how did this structure come to be? How was it created? And the one thing that kept coming back to my mind was the organization. And so we're going to talk about 3 steps that I use for basic organization of daily tasks. The first thing that I do to organize my day is to list everything. And I have an example, which we will get to, of a morning filled with tasks of things that I want to do and then things that I have to accomplish in that morning. The next part is to count how many items are on your list and save that number or put it to the side. So let's go over to our example. As you can see, I have a list right here. So the first thing when I put read part of my book is going to be for fun. So that's just pleasure reading. The next is eat breakfast, because sometimes I do forget to do that. And then third, paint nails. Another thing I want to do is check my email. That's super important for me. Tidy up or clean up my area, and then confirm appointments for the day. Also, I need to study for a biology quiz. So the first thing is I created my whole list. Then for the next thing, I'm going to count how many there are. There are 7 items on my list, and then I put that number to the side, which will come in handy for the next part. The third part, or the third step for organizing my daily tasks is to prioritize. And that's where you're going to start putting numbers to them. So something we want to be aware of is look for deadlines or timestamps. So for one of them, I see study for biology quiz. Let's say that quiz is going to take place at 10 o'clock. So I know that there's a timestamp on that. Another thing that you want to pay attention to is your basic needs. And one of mine, I'm just going to label that as number 1, is you got to eat breakfast. Because it's hard to tackle the rest of your tasks on an empty stomach. So I'll put eat breakfast as number 1, and then second, study for biology quiz. And then the number that I have over here, I'm actually going to jump down to the least important thing on my list, which I'm going to say is reading from my book. I don't necessarily have to accomplish that this morning. And also paint nails. I don't have to do that. Then I'm going to come back to the middle, and let's say check email is pretty important. So I'll put that as number 3. And then I'm going to confirm appointments as number 4, and I will clean up as number 5. So then we have a number for each of the tasks, or each of the items that we need to accomplish this morning. The last thing that I do as I look at this list that's numbered and laid out for me is I try to see where there's some overlap or where I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. And the first place I notice is while I'm eating breakfast, I can actually start studying for my biology quiz. That way, I'm not wasting any time. Then next, as I start to check my email, I notice that there's a message saying I'm supposed to meet with my academic advisor today at 11 o'clock. So then I hit confirm, and boom, again, killed 2 birds with 1 stone. And then of course I want to clean up, and I found also that after I paint my nails, I can let them dry while I read my book. And there's plenty of time to do the things that I want on top of the things that I have to accomplish that day. So just to review, the 3 steps that I use in my example is I list everything, the things that I want to do and the things that I'm required to do. And my brain wants to see it visually. That's very important that your brain can just make sense of it all. The next thing is you count and save that number. And the third thing is to prioritize, making sure that you look for deadlines or timestamps, and of course your basic needs, because you're going to want to feel comfortable before you start tackling the rest of your tasks. By organizing your time, it helps you think clearly and creatively. That puts you on the best path for success. So these are the 3 basic steps that I use in order to keep organized, but I would love to hear from you. Make sure to message me some of your best practices that you use to keep your daily tasks organized. Thank you for watching the video.